Welcome to My First Gig, hosted by me, Ryan Brown. This is a show that explores how professionals entered the workforce and the lessons they learned along the way. Today's guest is Andrea Wallace, a two-time founder, tech innovator, and professional musician whose career sits at the intersection of creativity and data. Andrea is the CEO of Opnr, a platform transforming how live music gets booked by helping concert organizers connect with the right artists using fan data. Over the past decade, she's built a career spanning tech, innovation, and entrepreneurship, all while drawing on years of experience as a professional musician. If you're lucky, you may be able to see Super Dre perform at a city near you. But before the startups, before the leadership roles, and before bridging music and technology, there was a first gig, and that's what we're going to talk about today. In this episode, we will dig into where Dre's journey really began, how those early experiences shaped the way she thinks about business and creativity, and what lessons from that very first job still show up in her work today. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, very natural first question of this podcast is, what was your first gig?
My first gig was working for a blueberry farm.
Incredible. That is awesome. Okay, where was it? What was your job?
Yeah, so I grew up in West Michigan, most notably closer to the Lakeshore because blueberries.
Yeah.
But I grew up just outside of South Haven, which if you know anything about that area, the lime in the soil.
Yep.
Everybody has a blueberry farm there. Like most of my friends growing up had large blueberry farms. And so that's honestly a lot of us. Like that was where our first job was.
Yeah.
So I think I was 14.
Wow.
And my first responsibility, because, you know, I grew in responsibility.
Of course.
No, my first responsibility was like I drove the gator. I don't know if you know what like farm equipment is.
Four-wheeler, basically.
Yeah. It's like a responsible looking four-wheeler. But driving the gator from
something maybe a 14-year-old shouldn't have been driving.
Maybe not. But, like, that's funny, though, because, like, I grew up in a rural area. You start driving very, very early. But that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But driving from the warehouse out to the fields to pick up the buckets and large crates of blueberries to take them back to the warehouse where they would then go down the line. And that's where everybody is like picking out the bad berries that don't go into the lovely little nice pints that you get to see when you go to Meijer to buy pints for $3, $4, $5, $6, $7.99. That is after the berries have been picked, you know, and make sure that you get rid of all the random stuff. So
Did you do the sorting too, or just the driving?
Yeah, so I moved from doing the driving and then like sometimes sat on the line because they had us try to do everything, so we kind of understood what the whole process was. Yeah. So driving first, then like sorting on the line, and this is where I understand. This is why I wash everything I buy from the store now, because like I just know how many people touch it. You know?
Oh, that's funny.
But
that's actually interesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like on the line, like because you pick out, it might be like either green berries or the little like just pieces of like the actual bush or whatever that sometimes land in their leaves and stuff. Yeah. To then like the packing and crating area. So like it goes through this thing called a hopper where all the blueberries go in, and then they go into the little like plastic crate things, and then the plastic little containers go into large crates, and then they end up in your favorite store. So
that's awesome. Did you like that work? Did you like that job?
I didn't really think about liking it then. Like at that age, it was just like I had a couple friends who worked there. We were having a ball.
Yeah.
I mean,
having friends work at a job like that helps.
Yeah. I mean, and it was summertime. We were outside. It was fun. We were meeting new people all the time. Yeah. There were tons of like migrant workers that would come from Mexico to the farm, and I worked there for 2 summers. So like, it's like we would see them, and then the next summer we were so excited to see each other again. Yeah. And like, so that's cool. it was, I don't know, it was big fun. Yeah.
And then eventually you were a Spanish translator, right?
Yeah. Yep. So, like growing up in that area, like they're just, you just learn it. Yeah. I don't know. It was kind of part of curriculum for school and everything. And my mom speaks it pretty well too. So like she taught us, you know, when we were younger. And so even just like kind of the basic translating like in the warehouse, because a lot of times, sometimes the people who actually own the farm have no idea.
Yeah.
So we could be like, oh yes, like this is what's going on. Like this thing needs to be fixed or whatever. So we kind of served in a bunch of functions. Really, it was like handling the berries, like from the actual field to the warehouse, the sorting, the packing, and then just kind of helping general communication, I guess, in a way. So it's kind of like an all hands on deck kind of environment.
Yeah, absolutely. So that sounds like very hard manual labor at a blueberry farm. Or the idea of like on a farm sounds like hard labor.
Yeah. I mean, farming is not easy work. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I guess when you're 14, you don't think about it quite like that because you're like, yay, I'm outside. And I'm like, I love blueberries. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, like doing it like year round would be a lot for sure.
Yeah. And I would imagine, I've never started my own business, but I would imagine like that's hard work. And so is that kind of where the foundation of your work ethic came from, you think?
I don't know if that's where it really came from, but I guess I always wanted to work, and my parents were like, no, you do not need a job.
Really?
Yeah. They were
that's like the opposite of what you hear most of the time.
Yeah, they're like, you need to focus on school and just like, that's what needs to be the focus. But I begged and begged, like, because everybody else was getting summer jobs, and I'm like, man, like, I want a summer job. Yeah. But when you're 14, there's only so much that you can do because you can't drive yet and stuff.
Unless it's a gator.
That's different. It's on a farm. Farm driving is totally different.
Yeah. Right.
But even getting there, so it's like your parents have to take you to work
for sure.
and all that. And so it was pretty close by. Yeah. And kind of like we knew other people, you know, whose kids were also working there. So it was kind of like a buddy system. Yeah.
Right.
So, it took some begging, but they were okay with it.
They got there eventually. So that's a very unique first gig. So what were the main lessons you pulled from that, and how did it affect the rest of your career?
I think like looking back after thinking about like being on this podcast, I had to kind of go back and think about what it was about it, but for sure like teamwork. I mean, nobody thinks about the hard work and the exhaustion and the sacrifice that it takes to get this thing that comes out of the ground grown that you kind of take for granted because you just go to the store and buy it. Yeah. You don't think about what it takes to get from that plant to your table. Right. To your kid's mouth because all they do is eat berries. Right. I was
going to say, I have two young ones, so I won't take it for granted when they end up on the floor.
Yeah. So it really is like there's a whole process, I think, like just... I understand agriculture in a way that I see how many people do kind of take it for granted, I guess. Sure. Like there's a lot of work that goes into getting food on your table every day.
Right. So can you even look at a blueberry like a normal person? It's a weird question, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. Occasionally, I think so. Also, like growing up by South Haven, there's like a blueberry festival, so there's just blueberries. Yeah, just blueberries everywhere.
That's awesome. Okay, so when you were on the blueberry farm, what was the dream job?
I don't know that I had a dream job then, but I had a vision of that I was gonna always work in I was gonna work in a downtown. And I was going to wear a suit every day. Yeah. And I was going to walk in my tennis shoes with my suit, in my briefcase, to my office. I had somewhere super important to go. Yeah. Cause that was what was on TV all the time, back then, in the
that was success.
90s. Yeah. That was cause all you thought about was New York. That was the frame for everything sort of. And so I didn't know what I was going to be doing, but I was yes, I'm going to wear a power suit doing it, which as you can see, I do not have a power suit.
Yeah, right. No. Did you pursue that at all in high school or college years or anything like that?
I mean, I did. I've certainly had plenty of office jobs. Yeah, I've had a very unique career in that it has been kind of two parallel
Okay.
Like trains running next to each other.
Yeah.
Because I've been involved in music my entire life, like
Right.
from like very, very young, obviously until now.
Yeah.
But as much as I always loved music, I wasn't sure if I wanted that to be my job or if it was just going to be like my thing that I just enjoy.
Yeah.
Because I truly just enjoy it. I don't need to perform to enjoy music.
Right.
But things transpired differently than I thought that they would have.
Yeah.
And so I ended up like with a pretty good music producer and DJ career for quite a long time.
When did that start?
So that really kicked off professionally about 2008, 2009 is when like I got like picked up by a management agency and a booking agency and started like touring like around the globe. So, and that was not something, one, it wasn't anything I was gunning for. Two, I didn't really expect it because I'm classically trained, so I would have thought if anything I was going to play in a symphony. That's what I always was like, maybe I'll play in the symphony like one day or something.
What instrument are you classically trained on?
Piano and saxophone.
Oh, wow.
And violin, but I don't, I like violin was like a later pickup, so I kind of don't consider it my like main instrument, but
I have a feeling you can play it better than most people.
But yeah, so I didn't think that I would end up on the production side of like making and composing melodies and stuff, but I was doing those things in high school. I just didn't think about it. I didn't think about it professionally. Yeah. Like I thought that was like a fun thing to do with my friends. So.
Right. So then how did you accidentally get into doing it professionally?
It really was just starting to put things out there. Like that was also around the time where the internet was like doing its thing. You know, that was like the beginning, like the late stages of the MySpace era, the beginning of like Facebook and Instagram and SoundCloud and Mixcloud and all these tools that suddenly like democratized access to the music industry. Like you could just like, boom, put stuff out there and people were liking it and I was selling it. And so people were starting to book me for it. And I was like, what is this? And I remember I got like booked on a couple big shows and like it was like, I had manager people calling, trying to figure out, like, do you need a manager? And I'm like, I don't know, do I? Like,
you tell me, sir.
Yeah, so it was just it was a really weird time because I think that was also like a dramatic shift in the music industry too. Yeah, things were just very, very different.
Sure.
It was like suddenly independent musicians were taken much more seriously because you were starting to have all these SoundCloud rappers that were like blowing up and everything. So it, I think a lot of accidental things happened during that time.
What did you learn during that period? I mean, you're accidentally all of a sudden on tour.
I learned two really big things. One, I was so grateful that my parents were like, yeah, you can study music, but you also have to get a business degree too.
Just in case.
Because, I mean, that's what it is. It's all business. Like, I think for creative people, chances are you've probably done whatever you're doing creatively for a long time, you know? So like, you're probably pretty good at it. Like if there's kids
you got 10,000 hours of that.
Yeah. Like if there's kids who are like incredible at drawing or painting or dancing or whatever it is, like if by the time they're like 16, 17, 18, 19, like they're like, they're professionals now. They are really, really good at that. So it's like, do they need to be going to school to be more good at that, or do they need to go to school to be more good at making a living off of doing this thing that they're really good at and also really love? So I think it just really helped me understand the context of like, yes, I do this thing and I can produce this product, but like, how do I make it work for me? So that was thing one. Very glad about that. And then I think thing two was the music industry is very convoluted and very strange, and it's hard to understand unless you're in it. And I think the best way to understand it is to have to be on a tour your first time. And I will say, but I think because I had the context of understanding business, being on that very first tour that I was on, it was a tour with Bassnectar. Actually, it was a down south tour with like 14 or 15 dates.
Wow.
We were on the road for like 3 weeks.
Wow.
And 3-4 weeks. And it's like watching everything, seeing what is happening.
Yeah.
Watching like where the money is flowing, like frankly, because it's like who's on the tour bus, because it's 2 tour buses, 3 semis of production, sound, lighting, equipment, all this stuff. You're going from venue to venue each night, and you're watching like who's doing what job. Like you've got these like production assistant people on truck, like sound crew and lighting crew. They're all on the van. They're all in the tour bus with you. You've got the tour manager doing this thing, like the artist managers are doing these things, like for us. And then every venue that you get to, like you start to understand how the venues do business and how they do business with you. Some venues you show up, and if it's like a Live Nation venue, it's very like cookie. Everything happens the same every time. Like
interesting.
You perform, you get off stage, you go to the back, they load out all your stuff, you settle up in the back with the manager, they give you a check. Boom, you're on your merry way. You can hang out for the rest of the night, or if you just don't want to be around anybody, you don't have to be. Then there's some, venues where maybe like a promoter did the show and you might walk out with an envelope of just cash. So, and some people will wire you the money. So like you just start to understand like why the music industry is as messed up as it is. Also, because there's just not a lot of rules most of the time. So
as I've gotten older, I've looked at a concert or a tour or something, and I've kind of thought to myself, this seems like a lot of people putting on this show. And like, yet somehow there's a lot of money being made, but it seems like there's a lot of cost, and the margins can't be that great.
So it depends, right? Like, and this is why independent venues tend to struggle, is because the margins are very thin. Where you make the margins amazing is if you own many, many venues. Because then it's like, you can have a show at this venue that's a failure. It kind of doesn't matter that much because you had this one and it's massive. That basically made up for everything for the next 3-4 months. So it's like you can spread out your risk if you own many, many venues, but it is definitely harder if you have one. But there's a lot of opportunity though, I think, for independently owned venues. It's just like you really have to know your lane and like get in your niche or whatever. And if you can nail that and get like a really loyal fan base that, to be honest, like as much as they might care about the musicians that are performing, but if you can get to the point where people just love the venue, they'll come regardless who's performing.
Okay, we're kind of getting to the business side of the music industry, which is awesome, but that's a great segue into Opnr. At what point did you think, oh, I have an idea and it's this?
Yeah, so Opnr is like a mix of multiple things.
Yes.
It is.
So
that show that I said that I did with Bassnectar that I ended up getting booked, that actually happened right here in Grand Rapids at the intersection.
All right.
Shout out to Scott at the intersection who booked me for that show.
Love it.
And so I recognized that was such a springboard to the rest of my career in that space. And so it is really important, I think, for artists. That's like kind of how you break new artists. Like there's only a few different ways to do it. Like, you can do it with like music that's on the radio or whatever. Maybe you have like a feature, somebody's featured on your song. Like that's how you introduce them to a new audience. But the other way is just live music. It's like, how do you get artists that have enough crossover but not too much because they're bringing their own fan base, so they can activate a fan base a little bit differently than maybe say like if you booked someone from Chicago to open for a show that was here. It could have an impact, but not nearly as much as if it's somebody that's local or regional, because you can activate a fan base really quickly. And so I moved a ton of tickets for that show, and so the thought process like behind a lot of like what Opnr really stands on is how do you take local and regional talent, allow them to activate a fan base that likely they have that frankly even the headliner really isn't going to have. Like the headliner will have it. They usually can sell a lot of tickets, but they're not going to be known to everyone. But there are some people who will only come to that show because of like direct support, that will be on that show. And so the thought process is like, how do we come up with a way where stuff helps everybody in the ecosystem? So like you were saying, the margins are thin. So venues need to sell tickets. That's what they have to do. So venues need to sell tickets. Artists need to get shows. Fans want to go support their friends and like also see shows and stuff too. So it's like, how do you make all of those things work together? And so the idea really is, okay, let's allow venues, promoters, festivals, whoever is looking to buy talent, let's give them access to local artists, but local artists everywhere. So whether it's local artists to Grand Rapids, local artists to Detroit, local artists to Austin, to Miami, to Seattle, to New York, whatever. But like really us like trying to focus on those like the local artists everywhere. Because there are plenty of people who are focused on the big people. Like what am I going to do for Beyonce? Nothing. Like I can do nothing for Taylor Swift. But we can do plenty for the people who are like kind of in that like mid-range where they're like just about to get there, but they really need to get access to like performance opportunities because that's how artists make money. And so is getting those people access to the opportunities so those organizers can put the opportunities out on the platform. Artists get alerts. Like so if they fit the criteria for that, they'll get an alert. They can choose to submit for that. If they choose to submit, it goes into a queue for the organizer to review. And then there's a final piece in the process. We have a feature built into the platform called Fan Claim. Sounds like exactly what it is, but it lets fans claim support for the artists who have submitted. And so then the organizer who is putting together the event, they can not only see like, who the artist is, their music, listen to it, all of that, see their social media stuff all in the same place, make it really easy. But they can also see like what fan support in that area is like for them. And we get all of that back so then we can turn around and use that same fan data once they have selected whoever they want to use, and we can target those people directly to help them close their gaps in ticket sales, which is like what it all comes down to. So everybody kind of wins. It's like the artist gets to perform. The venue gets to sell more tickets. Fans get to be like, yay, I had a hand in like, my friend got to perform for this or whatever. So it helps to keep an ecosystem where it doesn't feel like stuff is like where a person is losing, frankly.
So the music side, we talked about the music side, and that makes sense. Where did your data foundation come from? And
so my very first job.
There we go. Back to the topic at hand.
My very first job out of college was actually just down the street here.
Nice.
In McKay Tower.
Nice.
There was a software development firm in there called Structure Interactive. And my first job there was working as like a project manager. So I used to work with a lot of the developers there, and that was kind of where because I didn't go to school for computers. I used to build websites and stuff like when I was a teenager, but I didn't really think
classically trained website builder
that was gonna do anything. You know what I mean? Like I feel like everybody, when you're a kid, you grow up with it. You just do stuff. I don't know. But that was like really where I learned like more of a foundation for coding and all that. So like once I started to learn that, like then it became okay. I got my regular career over here, which is how I'm supporting my life. And I've got my music career over here, like, yay, this is fun, but I don't want to be broke. So basically it was kind of like keep learning these two things together, but then I started to have needs on the music side. It was like, okay, now I've got a manager, I've got a booking agent, I'm getting spreadsheets from them every month. I have to keep track of how much money is coming in to me, and then like I have to give them a percentage of whatever it is that I'm making. So I'm trying to make sense of this stuff. I'm like, I need to figure out how to visualize this. And because of work stuff, I got really good at Excel. And so I was using that is almost like a foundation. So then when tools like Tableau, like some of the visualization tools for data started to come out, I started dropping all my stuff in there. So I was keeping track of like my social media, like all of like where like demographics and stuff and all of that. So I kind of knew like, yeah, I should probably think about like doing ads here because for whatever reason, there's like this random pocket of people in Portland that seems really like my stuff. So I should focus on that, you know, for a little bit. And so some of my musician friends started seeing it and they're like, hey, can you make me like a spreadsheet like that? And so the very first startup that I had was called Fortify. And that was basically, it was a data aggregation platform. It was like connect all your stuff that you have as a musician. Because there were tools to do it for like social media stuff, but nothing that was really for like music specific platforms. And so ours was doing both. And so that was really kind of where that stuff came from, was like, let's give musicians tools that they need to make decisions. So maybe they don't need a manager. Like maybe they don't have to pay 15% to somebody. They could just do that on their own. Yeah.
And so then from there, how did you get from Fortify to Opnr? And how long was that? Like, what was that transition like?
Wasn't super long. It was about a year and some change, because a year and some change and COVID.
That thing.
That thing.
A lot of change.
So we had just finished, for Fortify, we had just finished a startup accelerator in Detroit. It was a joint venture between Generator and Capitol Records. So Capitol and Universal were like kind of like starting to figure out, okay, we know we want to do some new cool stuff. Like they had just spun up an innovation department. And so they were starting to work with startups, but they didn't really know how to do it. So they ended up pairing up with Generator. We got accepted to this very first like accelerator that they were doing, and it was awesome. Like I still like most of those people today, I still talk to them. A lot of them were part of our first investment round. Like, like that was probably my favorite accelerator that I've done. But after finishing that, this is like the end of 2019, like we were ready to go. We had just done this huge kickoff party at Pyramid Scheme. Like like we had a partnership with all these festivals. It was everything was going to be awesome. And then COVID hit. But for us, it wasn't a huge deal because we were still working behind the scenes, and we're doing stuff for artists, and those things didn't really stop. What did stop was anybody who was doing stuff that was related to live experiences. And so there was another startup in Detroit that was working on this platform called Fanic Music, and their stuff was all based on live experiences at the time. And so they had to completely shutter their doors, basically. And they were part of the ecosystem and all of that. And so Ted Veely from Midwest House, who most people know, doing all the things with startups and stuff around the area. He, it happened to be my first day back in Start Garden, like kind of post-COVID. It was like 2021 spring. He saw me in one of the phone booths. He's like, hey, there's this founder who has this cool music startup. He's like, I think you guys need to talk because he's ready to move away from his startup. I feel like you guys have like things that you could put together that might make sense. And so he ended up introducing us. We met. And then after a bunch of lawyers and paperwork and some months and all that, basically we kind of decided to like put the two things together.
Got it.
So it was taking what they were thinking about for live experiences and then taking what we were doing like from a data perspective and kind of bringing those two things together. So most of 2021 was kind of tearing both businesses apart and deciding what we needed, and then like hitting the ground running in 2022. So,
and that's Opnr. The combination of those things. Okay, got it. Cool. That's incredible. This really like it sounds like Opnr is the exact intersection of almost every part of your career, starting from 14 to right now, right? Overlapping. That I mean, looking back on it, what are your takeaways from that?
I think I definitely got to a point, I would say, probably around 2018, 2019, because I had moved away. Like, I lived in Grand Rapids for a while, lived in LA for a little bit, then was in Detroit. I was like, I'm kind of ready to come home, want to be back in West Michigan. I was like, but I was like, I don't mind working for people now. I was like, but I would really like to do my own thing. And I'm like, I feel like I'm really good at this. I just don't know what it is yet.
Right.
Don't know.
Yeah.
And I think it was like an epiphany that I had that I was like, I'm tired of living a double life. I was like, I'm tired of living like this corporate life and like my music life, and like I never really I avoided allowing them to meet so much, and I was like, it's time.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's time.
Yeah.
They need to be friends.
So you made the jump.
Yeah. So
what was the hardest part of that, making that decision? Because that's a big decision.
Oh man, yeah. The hardest part, I mean, is worrying about if you're gonna be broke or not. Like,
that's very honest. I have to imagine this.
Yeah,
true.
I mean, it's a big difference going from like golden handcuff corporate salary to being like, yeah, we're winging it, like kind of thing.
Believe me, there's something here.
Yeah, and you like it requires a belief in yourself that I don't even think I fully understood in the beginning. Really? It's like it takes time, like you almost have to show up for yourself over and over and over again, and then you're like, okay, it's gonna be all right. Like I'm sweating, I'm crying in the bathroom, but it's gonna be okay.
Oh man,
that's
crazy.
So it's a whole thing for sure, and it also requires you to be around other people who are encouraging for sure, and like who will help to like nurture you on that journey and hype you up, because I don't want to say most people won't, but your friends and your family are always going to look out for you from like a place of love. Yeah. You know, and I'm married too, so like your spouse, although I had this before we got married, so whatever. Okay. You can't say anything. But they want you to be okay, and they want you to be happy, and like entrepreneurship is inherently stressful, like in the beginning, and so they're just like, why are you doing this?
Exactly.
So you have to find people who kind of understand that journey, and who are gonna be the ones like, no, you're good, like keep going, like it's all good, and like that's where co-working spaces are nice, because you have a bunch of psychopaths in the same building who are all hyping each other.
That's funny. Yeah. Shout out Bamboo. Yeah. And Star Garden. Nice. What is one piece of advice, or a couple, you would give to someone that wants to start their own business?
I would say the first piece of advice that I would have to anyone starting their own business is to think about two things. One, why you want to do it, and what you want your life to be like. Because I think the why you want to do it makes a big difference on how you approach it. Right. Like if it's like a passion project, or if you're just like, nah, I know this thing makes money and I need to make money, and like there's no shame in that. No shame in that at all. But I think what you want your life to be like is a huge part of it, because I think that probably has the biggest bearing on how you approach how you want to build your business. Like if you're like and I meet entrepreneurs like this all the time. If you're like I want to have a unicorn company. I'm trying to build a company that's worth $1 billion. Like that requires a specific approach. You're probably going to be raising venture capital, which means you're about to be in a 10-year marriage with your investors or whatever. So like that can have a very real impact on if you decide to date, have friends, get married, have a family, all those things. And that's totally okay, but it's going to have an impact on like what your life is like, and where stress points are for sure going to hit. If you want a business that you just keep forever, that you're like, I want to keep it, and maybe like dissolve it when I'm getting older, I don't want it anymore, or I'll sell it. Or if you're like, I want to grow it, and then I want somebody to acquire it, and I want to move on to the next thing. So like there's all kinds of different ways to do it, and I don't think I think there's more flexibility in what it looks like to really build a business around your life. And I think that has become more acceptable than like before. It was like, no, if you have this kind of business, you're on the venture track, like good luck, grow your business to $400 million.
Yeah.
We'll get it acquired. Have fun on this journey.
Yeah.
I hope you get 2 hours of sleep.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've never built my own business, but it does seem like that's kind of under talked about, right? It's like it affects every single aspect of your life. It's not just your job.
It does.
It is
and
your
I
life.
think that's where, like, being a woman, I am keenly aware of how it intersects and impacts my life. Like, we have a 2-year-old. Like, I was raising our first round while I was very pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
So I have experienced, I think, all of these things at different phases of the business, but also different phases of my own life.
Yeah.
So now I tell people, whether it's, I don't care who it is, if it's man, girl, boy, woman, whatever, I'm like, think about what you want your life to be like. If you want to hang out with your kids a lot, this might not be the track for you, but you could totally make tons of money and be very successful if you just do it like this, but you just have to think about it differently.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Dre is the co-founder of Opnr, a tech platform revolutionizing the live music industry by helping concert organizers discover talent and sell more tickets by leveraging artist fan data. If you're a musician or a venue host, go check it out. Dre, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me.
Wow, what an interesting first gig. If you enjoyed today's journey through the early career stages of our guests, please subscribe on your podcast service of choice. We appreciate your support and love hearing from you. Feel free to leave a review or send us your feedback. It helps us bring more inspiring stories your way. Join us next time for another insightful episode, and remember, every great career journey starts with a single step. This is My First Gig, brought to you by Truscott Rossman and Say More.